Camera. Integrated, no. It's the one. Oh dear.
What is it again? What is it again?
Having some troubles. It doesn't matter. I'll edit all this out. It's not an issue.
I know it's StreamYard. Let me just close this.
Do you use Google Chrome for StreamYard? Because you're supposed to.
Yes, usually yes.
It works the best.
I know that. Okay, it is live. I see it is live now. Okay.
Okay.
I will just remove the sound. Let's see this.
Okay, I'll remove this banner that says technical difficulties because I think our technical difficulties are over. If I could turn my freaking camera on. Okay, let me try this. Let me try this again. What is going on here?
Good.
What is going on here? Camera. Integrated camera. No, not that. Stand by, people. What's that? Now my camera won't turn on. I think we're being hacked. Oh no. Aha. Oh, hello. There we are. Good. Tell me whenever you're ready, and we will hit the intro video, I guess, and that will be the point where I'll edit out our technical difficulties and so forth. In the meantime, I can show the slides, and handy dandy, I can click it right here in StreamYard. Look, that's pretty cool. If you can see that. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
Launch the video, and after that, we can go with the intro and.
Yeah, and we'll work together on the slides. You can say take down slide, put up slide, and I also have slides.
Yes.
Alrighty, here comes the video, and we will just start, and you'll take us away, huh? There we go.
Yes. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, forgive us for some technical difficulties with StreamYard, notably. So welcome to the Philosophy of Information, where we try to see events of our time with a more philosophical perspective. I'm with my co-host, David Gardner, today for the part 2 of the history of Buddhism. How are you, David, today?
Doing good. Looking forward to this. We're going to have some more fun this time. Last time it was nuts and bolts, and I don't know. No, we got some fun stuff.
Well, I think it was important to do, like we were talking backstage, to do certain history of Buddhism, the beginning, the origin, the concept, the school of thoughts. And yes, like you say, it's a little bit dry, but it's better to focus on the structure. Then after that, we can have a more free discussion. This week, if you can bring up the PowerPoint presentation, we will talk about Buddhism in the West. And that will be interesting because I see there's a lot of people who are misunderstanding Buddhism, including me. So this will be, I think, a very good episode. if you go to the slide 1, beginning of Buddhism in the West, and maybe you can bring up this picture that you sent me, David, Larry King, Martin Luther King, and Han, who was a guru. Can you start the show with the
Start our journey today into the Western world and Buddhism's first whatnot. Okay.
how it happened?
Yeah. Well, we'll start here, and then we're going to go all the way back to Socrates and work our way forward. Okay. But I just like this photo right here. There's a few of these. Great, great photo. Okay. Martin Luther King Jr., we know him. Thich Nhat Hanh, sitting here beside him, maybe lesser known, a very famous Zen master. Most gentle, kind human being, radiates this childlike, kind goofiness almost, so simple. But people say crazy things about him, how profound this man is. And I actually have an anecdote later during story time, if we have time, about a man who went to live in this. I know a guy in Newfoundland who went to live in Thich Nhat Hanh's community in southern France called Plum Village, a monastery. He's dead now. He died recently. A stroke actually killed him. Too bad. Very recent. He died. Too bad. But he survived through the Vietnam War. Okay. Monk there. And he's banned from his country for fighting against all the crazy stuff that was happening there. Vietnam War. Okay. So Martin Luther King, non-violent resistance, right? You know, and Thich Nhat Hanh, same thing. He's the master of the walking meditation. There's famous stuff about him. You just type his name into the internet, you'll see him walking hand in hand with children and old people and thousands of people down the streets and stuff. This is what he does. He does these slow walks with people all around the world. That's his thing. So I like this. I thought this was a good place to begin because this is something nice going on here with the West and Buddhism, something sweet, good, I think. Now let's look at the dark side because the rest of it is actually a bit darker. But we'll work our way into the darkness. I will get rid of this tab and go straight to, well, would you like to say anything before we go to the ancient Greeks?
Well, you were talking about Martin Luther King, the fact that they are peaceful protesters. Isn't it the essence of Buddhism to be peaceful?
I wouldn't say peaceful because, well, Chogyam Trungpa, who we're going to talk about a lot later, a major Western Buddhist character, he and his teachings people refer to a lot because he was great at translating Western Buddhism to the West, rather. He came up with a great term, which I think is good. Like him or hate him, idiot compassion. That's, I don't know. You could unpack that.
But
I think it's
idiot,
good to be
idiot in the sense that naive, compassion toward naiveness.
Well, think about how human beings behave with compassion, so-called. Is it real? Is it staged? Is it to get something in return? This is the most important part. Altruism, with altruism, you get nothing in yes.
Exactly. I understood what you mean. So if you go back to what you wanted to talk about, the Greek, how Buddhism arrived in the West, and it is not necessarily in modern time. It was more, if you, last week we were comparing systems, you talked about Japan, you talked a little bit about China, you talk about India. So, and how is it now? Do we say Buddhism arrived in 1960, or was it present more early in history?
Yeah.
Maybe through philosopher. Later we will talk about Baudrillard and Schopenhauer. So it did not arrive in the 20th century.
No. Yeah, we'll start our journey, hit a few people through history. The Greeks, the German philosophers, Dante, Hume, and some World War II, Japan, United States, and Zen coming to the United States. And of course, Chogyam Trungpa and the Shambhala Buddhism, which is a brand new lineage of Buddhism. He created it in like 1980. We'll get into it. Now, if I boot you from the stage by accident right now because this video you put up, I have to click this thing that says "kick from studio," and it might kick you. It happened before, but just come right back, okay? And I'm going to go to my first slide about the Greco-Roman. Okay, here we go. I got to remove
No problem.
It says "kick guest." Just Please come back. Okay, he's gone. Okay, now that freed up the tabs. So share screen. Wikipedia right here. Greco Buddhism. Here it is. So I'll keep my eye out for when Andre returns. I'm sure he'll be quick. He's more savvy than I am. There he is. That was fast. He's back.
I'm back. Yes.
You're back. That was a great transition. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Greco Buddhism. This is a fun tab. Look how this Buddha statue is. What's with these robes? He's just like a Roman. A Roman.
It looks like Greek or Roman costume.
Can you see where this was found? In Pakistan, in the 1st or 2nd century. So this is the Silk Road. This is the middle. This was found in the middle of Greece and India, Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was fascinating, and good for Wikipedia for being so smart with their artwork here, because that really paints a massive historical picture here. This gosh darn thing. So
and this one is what, 2nd century before Christ, after Christ.
Right. Yeah. That's
Good.
true. Yeah.
Interesting, because through history we can see the evolution of sculpture, for example, like what you were mentioning last week, emaciated Buddha.
Yeah, there's more statues here too. Well, take a quick. This presentation of the Greco-Roman situation is really just some photographs and artwork. Then we're going to jump forward in history a little. Just fun stuff. These black dots on this map are all major sites of Buddhism: India, Bhutan, Nepal, Lumbini. That's where the Buddha was born. Lumbini here. Nepal. And over here, even all the way to Pakistan. Look, that's where they bombed.
Pakistan, Afghanistan. Yes.
The giant Buddha statues in Afghanistan. Giants.
The Taliban, yes.
Yes, they bombed them. Yeah, rocketed them. And some up here in Mongolia, 2 major sites. What else we have? Anyway, we get the idea. We went through it last time, some of these details. So that's fun. So, the Western world isn't the only part of the damn world, is it? There's lots going on over here.
Yes.
The Indo-Greeks. Here's coinage. Victory coin of Alexander the Great. Elephants. And stuff. Some architecture here. This is, there's lots in these photos. More coinage. This is the wheel we talked about, the Buddhist wheel of teachings, pushed by Zeus or something crazy. I don't know what this is. So here we see more artwork, coinage, so forth.
If you go back to the wheel of Zeus, this one, I find it interesting because I'm reading a book, the Greek myth. And it's from British poet Robert Graves, and the wheel is very essential in those myths, especially with Zeus. So that's you, like what you're saying. The Western world is not the only world that was influenced by Buddhism.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and if we have time for Eckhart Tolle, the arch charlatan of the world. He just steals Buddhism and makes millions of dollars from promoting it. And we'll get to that later. Charlatans in the West. I don't know what this is. More Greco-Roman, Hellenistic culture. Okay. You probably know more about this stuff with the book you're reading right now. Yeah. Stuff here. Another image of the robe. Pretty cool. And this one here, he's sitting down meditating in the darn robe. And that's Zeus standing beside him, I guess.
Yes. Is it Zeus? Yes, it looks like Zeus.
Panel showing the Buddha performing a miracle before those ascetics we talked about last time, I guess. 2nd to 3rd century after Christ.
It is. It is at the same period that the Roman Empire, 2 centuries after Christ, and especially when Constantine started to recognize the Christian religion as the Roman religion at the time.
I didn't look at this one yet. This is a Kandahar, Afghanistan, bilingual rock inscription with Greek and Aramaic.
Aramaic, yes.
Holy crap. Okay, interesting.
So they were already translation. We will talk later about translation.
The Silk Road, right? The change of ideas and stuff. This is the last one. This is cool because we talked about the birth of the Buddha or whatever last time, but this is a white elephant that goes into the Buddha's mother during a dream, and then she gives birth to the Buddha the very next day, fully grown baby, and the baby walks out of his birth from her side through her ribcage somehow miraculously, and she dies from it, but apparently didn't hurt her anyway. I don't know about all that, but anyway, I'll stop sharing. Discuss a little maybe before the next tab. I don't know. I find that very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, you refer to, for example, Buddhism in the Western world, but Western philosopher. What about Socrates, Aristotle,
right,
Plato? Were they influenced by Buddhist thoughts or Buddhist doctrine?
Well, this is a magazine.
I read Aristotle, The Art of Poetry, Rhetoric of Poetry. I read Plato, The Republic. I did not feel that they were really influenced. Maybe Socrates, like you said, because it was oral teaching too.
Well, perhaps we could learn more from this right here, which I found so interesting.
Yes,
Philosophy
exactly.
Now.
You were showing this.
Yeah, Philosophy Now magazine online. I think one or two fellows are having some fun over here. Well done. It's not right, it's not left. It's just an honest look. And here they are smashing Socrates, some of his ideas, and Zen together and looking at the comparisons. And we can't get into all of this for goodness sake, but it starts with Socrates is greatly interested in definitions. If you're going to talk to him about reality, you better define your gosh darn terms. God, morals, ethics, whatever the term is. I mean, I chose God because that's the hardest one to define for most people. And maybe later we'll scratch that surface because we're in the West now.
Well, what you just said is important. I think when we ask a philosopher, when we ask a question, for example, what is God? What is infinity? We are exposing or illustrating the problem of vocabulary. When we start to speak in a philosophical manner, like what you just said, it's not right, it's not left. It is something that is more. We try to seek truth through words because it's like a tool. But if we take the tool as reality, like the word becomes reality, it can blind us toward. And I think you were referring last week to the practice. Socrates did not write any of his speech. It was his student who were promoting his speech. Like many philosopher, I don't know if you know Osho. Osho was yes, he was a teacher, and he was not writing his speech. It was his student who were promoting his speech. So it's always the idea of having an oral transmission, not a written transmission, which came much later, with the Gutenberg project and how we started to write things, write thesis. I think maybe we will talk about it later when you will refer to Baudrillard and Schopenhauer in a more recent time.
Yeah,
everything was focused on writing instead of an oral practice. So you were talking Socrates and Zen. Are there any parallel?
Well, let's take a little look in here in this article. Two short stories that I thought would be interesting. People love, and I love, these Japanese sort of Zen stories, right? So maybe I'll read this 4 sentences of this little Zen parable. Oh, look, and here's a nice photo of Socrates, a little fat Buddha, and Socrates melded into one. And then maybe you could read for this short also one about Socrates, a parable about Socrates. Okay, let's do this. This will be fun.
The one about knowledge.
Yeah, they speak for themselves. They speak for themselves. So I will read this one, and then we could talk about it. And okay, let's just get to this. I think that they speak for themselves. Here we go. So this guy's name is Nan-in. He's Japanese. He's a Zen master. So Nan-in, a Japanese master during the Meiji era, 1912, era, he received a university professor who came to inquire about Zen. Nanin served him tea. He poured the visitor's cup full and then kept on pouring. The professor watched the overflow until he no longer could restrain himself. It is overfull. No more will go in. Like this cup, Nanin said. You are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?
We were talking about this week when we were preparing the show, and I was referring to new knowledge and old knowledge. When children, they grow up, they start to integrate knowledge, walking, talking, then they go to school, and the old knowledge becomes automatic. It is like part of your personality. Everybody walks, everybody breathes, and then you start to learn more complex concepts. So you have to empty, or you have to put behind, if I can use the expression of Freud, you have to put behind some knowledge, but which will become unaware or unconscious, so you can make room for something new. Maybe that's what this small story is all about, trying to empty your teacup and to bring space for something new, because else you will not achieve. You cannot learn more if you stick on your actual knowledge. Maybe we were talking last week about impermanence, the fact that the world is always in movement. It's interesting. There's another one that I liked a lot when you were talking about knowledge with Socrates, and it's Socrates. Another person arrived. I think he was a
You want me to
disciple
read
or a
it?
student. Yes,
Can
go
you?
ahead.
Okay, because you probably can't see it that well. It's quick. So one day, a dispassionate young man approached the philosopher, Socrates, and he casually asked, or said, "Oh, great Socrates, I come to you for knowledge." The philosopher took the young man down to the sea, waded in with him, and then dunked him under the water for 30 seconds. When he let the young man up for air, Socrates asked him to repeat what he wanted. Knowledge, oh great one.
I like this one.
Knowledge, oh great one. And he sputtered. Socrates put him under the water again, only this time a little longer. After repeated dunkings and responses, the philosopher finally asked, "What do you want?" The young man finally gasped, "Air, I want air." "So good," answers Socrates, "good. Now, when you want knowledge as much as you wanted that air, you shall have it." So, what do you think? Is this profound in some way here?
It is profound, and it refers to the story you just read before. Know what you ask, or know what you want, because my wife, she's always saying, you don't tell your plan to God because it will make him laugh. You have to know what you want. What you want, meaning, if I say I want the truth, am I ready to receive the truth? And we were talking about mystery. If I say I want freedom, am I ready for freedom? A lot of people, Leo Tolstoy, when he wanted to free his serf, he offered them freedom. And many of them were saying, well, master, what is good? What freedom is good without land, without knowledge, without I would say the guilt, if you know how to work. So I can give you your freedom if you ask it, but if I give you your freedom and I don't give you the instrument or the tools to achieve this freedom, or to enjoy this freedom. So Socrates is showing in this small story that you have to know what you want. And I'm not sure in the Western world we know what we want.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So we're peeling the onion here, right? So
Slowly,
slowly,
and
slowly? Yeah.
well, you were referring to philosopher.
Mm-hmm.
So,
There's
and you
more
see,
philosophers here to bring up too.
yes, and the influence. I think the title, Buddhist Influence and Resonance Through
Yeah.
History. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
can talk about what was the
There's two in
influence on
here.
those philosophers.
Yep, they go
Yes,
through.
exactly.
This is a Buddhist monk blogger. Are they allowed to be blogging? Are they allowed to use computers? I don't think so. He's misbehaving. These monks have 237 rules that they have to follow. That's how serious they are. That's what the 20. Those rules were laid out by the Buddha. Those guys we talked about yesterday, the Theravada monks. They're the real rule followers, guys. They're like the. I'm not. I will use the term lightly. Zealots. I'll use the term very, very lightly because I appreciate
Yes.
them. I appreciate them. And the thing with monks is, and Christian monks and other monks, the monks hold the knowledge through history. They live it. They practice it every single day to the best of their ability. Let's be honest. Problems happen when you coop people up as well. So yeah, with the sexual stuff. So David Hume, anyway, this blogger is talking to his audience of other Buddhists and people, I guess, and they figure David Hume, his radical skepticism questioned even the existence of the self. And that resonates deeply with the Buddhist ideas of anatta, which is no self, no self.
No self. Okay, that's important that you.
And for reason for
mentioned.
this is because he actually spent a year in a French seminary with a Jesuit priest who'd spent a great deal of time in Thailand and imbibed Buddhist ideas. Okay, so there you go. There's one little other thing. I don't know David Hume. I don't study him. He's too smart for me. I came across him in university and I was like, this is too intense.
Well, you should. He's a David, like you. But now it's interesting because you see mutual influence. You know, this when you talk about he went to a French seminary with a Jesuit, so that the Jesuit spent a great deal of time in Thailand. So as soon as you have two individuals who are clever enough, wise enough, reasonable enough to have a discussion, despite the fact that you have the barrier of language, ideas will start to flow from one person to the other. That's what we call influence in knowledge. This is interesting. The other one that is interesting too is Dante Alighieri.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Dante for sure. Can you see what I'm showing here? This is something called David Hume's mausoleum.
Mausoleum.
David Hume's mausoleum. Oh, that's where he's buried. I see. Mausoleum. That's a tomb. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, we got to move forward here. Yeah. The next thing on this little monk's thing. Yes, Dante's Divine Comedy. That presents a bit. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, you were showing me the representation of the circle.
Yes.
And it reminded me of the Divine Comedy of Dante. When you referred that, I said, yes, I read the Divine Comedy of Dante. The circle, it's like the layer of the allegory of Dante. You have three books in the allegory of Dante. You have the purgatory, the heaven, and you have inferno. And each character, like Virgil, like Socrates, they're all represented in Dante's comedy. Like you have layers of knowledge, and you were explaining to me that those layers of knowledge are layers of consciousness.
Yes.
Are important. And maybe you can describe the center. The Buddhism realism, the 6 layers, I think. Maybe you can describe them so we can.
Sure. I think people will find this interesting.
Yes.
So maybe I'll show the photograph while I read this. Well, we'll read it together. Let's do some research together. So the 6 Buddhist realms. This gets to the nut of the issue of some of the hardcore cosmology. And this goes all the way back to the Buddha. They believed all this, all the way to the present. All schools of Buddhism share this. And this is an important thing to bring that up because different schools, given change around different things, believe this, not believe that, whatever. But everybody takes this stuff pretty seriously. And here's the reason. Because you can experience all 6 of these realms right now in your own mind as we go through them. So number one, so there's 6 realms. When you die, you could pop up in any one of these and spend millions, billions of lifetimes in there before you come back to one of these other ones. And you're always going through them all day long, physically, when you're birth and death system, but also psychologically with your moods and stuff all day. So let's just start at the human realm. Why don't we? We're in the
Yeah,
human realm.
the three bottom one, yes.
So the
Oh no,
human
no,
realm is
okay,
where we are. Yeah, then we'll move downward, I guess. It's
okay,
heaven.
yeah.
This is going to be fascinating. Okay. So this realm where we are is considered the most favorable for spiritual progress because it offers a balanced mix of suffering and pleasure, which provides the necessary motivation to seek liberation. Humans possess the unique capacity for self-awareness, wisdom, and the ability to understand and practice Buddhism, Buddhist teachings, making it the only realm where enlightenment or nirvana is possible. And you could throw in other religions in there easily, right? Humans have that capacity to think deep about things. Fine. So if you're a bad boy and you die, you could end up in the animal realm if you've behaved like this in your human life. Beings born here due to past karma related to ignorance and attachment of basic survival needs. They are driven by instinct, focused on finding food, shelter, and safety, often living in fear and lacking the ability to reflect on their actions or their consequences. So that's the animal realm. That's how animals behave according to Buddhists.
I would have a question toward the animal realm. When you say people often living in fear and lacking the ability to reflect on their action or their consequences, are we at this level in the West?
Yes.
Actually,
my opinion, yes. And in the animal realm, to me, it is more like the post-human of today. The post-human. These people running around, and I resist becoming one of them too, where you just stare at the computer, stare at the phone, whatever. You're jacked in somehow all the time, and it's affecting your personality, your relationships, and people don't know what's going on. I had people over here for dinner. They took the cell phone out and were using it at the fucking table. Adults older than me. I said,
yes,
no, nope,
it is.
not here. Nope.
It's because it is. In my opinion, it is a lack of strength. I would not say moral strength, but you were talking about having a mobile phone at home or at dinner. Everybody's checking their mobile phone. They are their brain is shifting, is changing the way they behave. We can talk next week. We will talk about transhumanism, but you interviewed Gilbert McInnes, who was talking about post-humanism, and the fact that we are in an environment that influences us will have an impact on our brain. Our brain will start to change. The modality of the brain start to change. We can talk about artificial intelligence. When people they use it, they don't make the effort. When they started in the beginning of the Greek civilization, we started to shift from oral transmission to written transmission. And I will take an example, simple example. Socrates was his teaching were oral. And I forgot the name, the great lawyer in the Roman Empire. All his speech were oral. He had to know them by heart. You know, it's like an actor on stage. He has to know his part by heart, and he does not hold the book to because it is not, it will not be natural to see this. So the idea of having an oral culture moving to a written culture is it's considered a progress. Today, like you said, the animal realm, people they act by reflex. They take the phone, they watch TV, they don't read because reading is starting to be a hard activity. You need, first of all, the materiality of the book. You need to hold the book. It's different even reading from with a book than reading online. It's quite different. So if you go back with the Hungry Ghost realism,
Yeah.
and that's another fascinating
This would be your
state of
fentanyl.
mind.
Yeah, this would be downtown Vancouver and also up Las Vegas, whatever. I think we all experienced this in our life too, on occasion. The hungry ghost realm, and you would not want to be born there. The beings there, I've been told, well, I've been told that it says that in the Buddhist books, that they have very tiny holes for a mouth. The mouth is basically a pin. You can only stick a pin in there; it's so small. But they have bellies that are very big and fat, and they're so crazy with hunger. And then they see on the horizon a mountain of rice, and they go running like a maniac. And when they get there, it's stones. They can't even eat it or squeeze it through their stupid little mouth. So you don't want to be born there. So beings in this realm suffer from intense, unquenchable cravings and dissatisfaction. They are often depicted with large stomachs and tiny mouths, symbolizing their inability to satisfy their hunger or thirst despite constant effort, representing the consequences of greed and attachment.
This is interesting. Again, I refer to Robert Graves, the Greek myth, where they show when a god or a half god is punished. I think about Prometheus who was attached to a mountain, and his liver was devoured by an eagle every day, and the liver comes back. That's the level of that you're talking about, where you have hunger, but you cannot fulfill it because your mouth is too small. It's quite fascinating. There's a lot of people who live in this. There's a concept that we know now, obsolescence. Obsolescence is a way, in appliances and everything. You buy something, but there's a sense of emptiness in the object. As soon as you have it, you crave for something else. So capitalism marketing is based on that. If you go to the last one, the hell.
Yeah, let me share this. So the hell realm, that's pretty obvious. Not good. And I've heard that there's many types of hells, not just one, and some are very cold, not just hot. So this is the most challenging state of existence, characterized by extreme constant suffering, often described as intense heat or freezing cold. Beings are reborn here due to severe negative karma, and their suffering continues until that karma is fully exhausted. I asked someone once, Buddhists of some authority, about suicide. What happens if you commit suicide? They say you go to a place worse than hell. It's called Vajra hell. And there's places, I've been told, in between these realms, a void, black nothingness, where you get stuck there for eternity and not be reborn at all. So I'll be very careful, according to this system of birth and death, what you are doing right now. Would you want to get stuck there in between the realms in a black nothingness forever, never to reincarnate ever again? But a little mind, your little consciousness there all the time. Ugh, sounds terrible.
Under between those three lower realms, you still have other state. What you're describing, suicide, but we could refer today with medical assistant in death.
Yeah.
This is another. It's not only moral question. It becomes spiritual in a sense.
Oh, yes.
So what about the two realms that are higher?
We could discuss those. Sure, the God realm, that's the best one. Although the people there, when they're born there, you sit around on a white lotus in a massive lake for 10 billion years, and you think you're in heaven and bliss. Everything's great. But then one day you realize, oh, impermanence. Impermanence is the nature of the universe, and things are starting to get funny. Maybe I'm going to fall from my high seat. And oh, yes, it does happen. And usually people who spend that long in the God realm are very ignorant, and they go straight to hell. They don't even go down to the second lowest one. What the demigods are, I don't know much about this one. The demigod realm, what's this all about? Beings in this realm possess great strength and power, but are driven by jealousy, competition, and constant desire to surpass the gods above them. Oh, wow. This leads to perpetual conflict and strife, both externally and internally, preventing true peace. Does that happen on the earth in your mind sometimes at all?
Well, it is interesting because if we refer to the god, the Greek god, the demigods, like Zeus and like Hera, his wife, They're constantly in competition. They're constantly jealous of each other. They all want to surpass each other's or the god. They do not accept to be surpassed by another god. So I think it is interesting because the level, the Greek gods or the Greek half god are there. Half god, it means half god, half man. So that's interesting. The layers of the Divine Comedy of Dante exposes that very well.
Interesting. Yeah. So East West, some things work, and as we will see very soon, some things don't.
The influence.
Yeah.
If you go to the slide.
Which, the description of those things. This one.
Yes, just to see.
What? Which one?
Okay, no. If you go to the slide for the question. Sorry.
Oh, the slides. Yes, of course. Share this tab. There we go. Beginnings of Buddhism in the West. Yeah.
Yes. So the next one, if we go to the next one, myth and fact.
Right.
Can you describe what would be the myths around Buddhism in the West? Because we have a certain comprehension of Buddhism, and what are the facts? Maybe some funny stories.
Well, since I really only know the facts, what are the? I mean, I get the idea. I mean, people have told me I'm a fucking idiot here in Canada. First of all, my own father said there's no Buddhism. I don't even know what the fuck that means. And here's another thing. When I was in university studying this shit, I wasn't even really into it in any life path way. If I am now, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's my private business, I guess, isn't it? We're looking at history here a little, but we're analyzing the Western world too. A guy came to change the carpet in my apartment one day when I was studying this in my bedroom. And I was like, well, I'll just go to the library. And he's like, oh, what are you reading? Whatever. I said, I'm doing schoolwork. I mean, I'm doing university looking at Buddhism this week or whatever. It just happened to be Buddhism that week. I was reading about Islam probably later that week. Anyway, he says, there ain't no Buddha. That's the exact fucking sentence he said to me. There ain't no Buddha. And I was like, well, okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Can you just fix the fucking carpet? That's what I was thinking. And he said, there's only the word. I said, what word? He said, what word? The word, boy. This time, it was the Bible, of course, he's referring to. And I thought, well, this is the Western world, isn't it? They don't like things that are different, do they? I don't know. So that was my first kind of taste of that Western milieu of the high and mighty of the Christianity here. It's Christendom. And I like Christianity. Let's get to the issue. I don't care. I don't know if there's a God or not. And we're going to talk about that later. But I thought that would be interesting to bring up. Just off the cuff, that just came to my mind. Some antidotes that really make me prickly with this part of the world and how ignorant we actually are. So go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. You're mentioning how ignorant. The fact that we are aware that we are ignorant, that our knowledge is small, even if it brings good to humanity, our knowledge, perception of reality is very small. If we are more modest about it, we would not act like this man who was installing your carpet. There's one point I like, Mike.
And it's just rude. It's just rude. Would you say that at the dinner?
Rude.
You know what? Here's another thing. You can continue, but I have to throw this in. At the gosh darn dinner table here, not 2-3 years ago, someone said to me, all religions are cult. I was talking about Buddhism in general. I wasn't like preaching anything. He said the Buddhist was a cult leader. All religions are cults. And it's just like, come on, dude. You're just having dinner here. You got to take that. That's not the fucking answer to the world's problems to say it's all cult. First of all, this shit is serious, man. Life and death, religion, right? Western world. That's fucked.
A cult. First of all, again, a person who says that is stuck in his.
He's in a cult.
He's in a cult. He's in a sense of
yes.
The world is finished for him. and there's nothing else that what he sees, what he perceives. I like Michael Jones, who's a Christian philosopher. I will have him on my show next Monday.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that. Yeah.
one night he was interviewed by a young man, very interesting young man, and he told him, the young man was asking simple question, but very simple question, and close question, yes, no. And Michael Jones told him, he said, do not make your stupidity the norm for the rest of us. Meaning that if you ask close question, for example, are you hungry, David? Yes, no. Okay, but do you believe in God? Yes, no. Okay, but no, and it does not exist. Wait, you project your ignorance, or you project your opinion on the on other people. And I like this idea, because when you discuss between mature people, you don't say it exists, it does not exist. You say what you feel, what you believe. There's a difference between accusing somebody of something and saying, I am responsible for something. First of all, I'm responsible for my own life. I'm responsible for my belief, my faith, my opinion, and I should not project this on other people. Yes, because this is a political strategy. So it's interesting. This is one myth that we have. We have this tendency of thinking in the Western world that we know knowledge. We have knowledge, or we bring civilization. We bring democracy. We have this tendency of
like in
saying,
Iran. Yeah, like in Iran recently. In Iran, with 30 stealth bombers unleashed by the United States upon that country's industry, spreading democracy, right? Whatever.
So we bring democracy. We bring what we call democracy. That is one myth. Toward the fact, are we facing good facts? All those people who came to teach Buddhism, to make us discover Buddhism. I think it arrived in 1960 or something like this, a little bit earlier maybe. And it was at the same time that we started to see sexual revolution, emancipation of Black people, minorities. That was in the 60s. If we go to the next slide, or Zen, yes,
Well,
we can talk about Zen.
we'll skip over this. I mean, it's just World War II. There was a lot of Japanese held in the Western world, the Great West, of course, in concentration camps, or I'm sorry, internment camps, all this stuff. So a lot of Zen priests started to come over to cater to that community. And you get Suzuki Roshi, who came here, very famous. Love him, great guy, good book. Okay, so let's get away from that. But we're going to jump ahead to more of, you mean like this kind of guy? What happened with the hippies in America?
Well, yes, because you were showing exactly who arrived here and how they influenced Western civilization, or Western, the modern era, 1945, 1980, something like this. What about Rinpoche, Trungpa Rinpoche?
Okay, well, let's unpack him a little here. He might come up later again, but 1969, 1968, the hippies are looking for something new, aren't they? They're whatever, we know it. They're seeking something outside of the old ways, and meditation, the Hare Krishnas and Hinduism and all the other things were coming. The Beatles, singing all these Hare Krishna album and stuff. So things were happening. The Chogyam Trungpa escapes Tibet, escapes the Chinese communist occupation. There's a photo of him while he was still there as a young man. So that's how he would look if he dressed of his station, you could say. But he wears an ordinary suit. And here's a black and white photo. This is a great website to just look at the photos and tell the story, I guess. It's all about him. Anybody can go here. So he's dressing normal. Here he is in like a little hippie tent, right, in Vermont.
So he arrived in 1970, around the time of the Vietnam War, Woodstock.
Yeah.
the sexual liberation, and he was influenced by them too. He was coming here to teach, but he was influenced also by the Western civilization.
Hmm. He used this symbol here a lot on a lot of his flags he started to create and put out because he's building a new Buddhism. And as we looked at last time, when this religion went to Japan, when it went to China, when it went to Tibet and other places, it absolutely changed the whole scene, the whole culture for a long time. Here, it's just not going to happen. It will not happen, and that's fine. It's just not going to happen. But so he was starting something, and it did grow. It got very big, and it's still happening, and we will look at it. So this symbol here is the endless knot, and I like it. This symbolizes the ego. It's a knot. It's a knot you cannot untie. It may never happen for you. Maybe you can try. So, of course, the Karmapa's visit, we looked at it last time. He engineered that. He brought him over. There's a photo. He builds this in Colorado, I believe. In Colorado, he has his major Shambhala Buddhism headquarters. And people are probably familiar with Shambhala Buddhism. That's the thing he invented. It's in every town, in every city in the Western world. And quick, I have a map. You see this? These are the centers.
Sort of center and groups in the Western world, what we could say, Canada, United States, and part of Europe.
Yeah, and only one in Thailand.
That's what I wanted to say. There's nothing, the ex-Soviet Union Republic, Kazakhstan,
no, because
they don't want this. There's nothing there.
Yeah, they don't want this
because of course at this time it was Soviet Union. It was what we say an atheist society, socialist society. What about him? What about the character? How he was when he arrived here? Let's talk about some fun fact.
Okay, well, where shall we begin? Here's a good picture. This kind of encapsulates what was going on at the time. It captivated audiences to see the cripple. See, he was drinking and driving. I will speculate because he was an alcoholic and everyone knows it. In England or Scotland one time, that's where he went first, from Tibet, escaped to India, to the Tibetan refugee camps in India. So he was in a refugee camp, fallen from a high place, with a young son who we will be discussing in detail, his son, more so than him. Scandal, massive, okay. He arrives in Oxford and there's rumors, Reddit and other places about CIA funding for the war against China and Tibet. Massive rabbit hole. I do have some Wikipedias about CIA, Tibet programs, and other programs about giving money to the Dalai Lama and other teachers to bring them to teach English, etc. So anyway, so he's wrapped up in this world a little. Either way, he makes it to Oxford, gets educated, starts out Buddhism over there. They're not having it at all. Comes to the West where the hippies are, and he's like, aha, they're hungry for something here, and I can provide it, I guess. Well, I don't know. They look hungry in this photo for some teaching or talk of some kind from the mysterious man from Tibet. So he has a car accident. He's crippled on one side. So he lumbers around, drunk a lot. People don't like him. He had sex with his students, women. So there's that. Is that correct conduct for a teacher of religion?
Well, one thing that I can say is that
chain smoking.
It was not uncommon at the time. Don't forget that during the sexual revolution, many people, and that's why I was asking, how can we define the word guru? Guru is supposed to be a leader, somebody. Today we would use the word influencer. Somebody who's influenced other people. I'm always curious about how we can relate words together. It was not uncommon. Was it moral? Most probably not. But in a sense, it was common. It was often we saw many scandals in university with teachers sleeping with their students. Okay, they're all major. They're all adults. So you could say, between consenting adult, we should not interfere. But there's a sense, the master, he has a moral authority. How was this character, how he was in reality. What you're describing is interesting.
Well, I have very close to the horse's mouth antidotes. He died here in Halifax in 1986. I was very young. I never met him. However, all of his hippie boomer students moved here to be with the master.
Mhm.
Thousands of them. So Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Nova Scotia in general has a lot of Buddhist serious. And we'll get into his military outfit. He started to create this little military force also. Oh my goodness, this guy was everywhere he went, things went weird, and
What was
centers
he?
popped
Was
up.
he some kind of? Was he some kind of uh, leader outside in exile? Could he have been considered a leader in exile? And, you know, we can think about Charles de Gaulle in France when he was in London during the war, and now he escaped Tibet through India. He arrived in the Western world. Did he? I think you told me he studied at Oxford.
Yes, he went to Oxford, learned
So you
English.
know they are conditioned a little bit by this structure of what we call the West, the British culture.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you take the culture, you take the sin. You cannot
Mhm.
you cannot dissociate the culture with the sin. We know the Brits how they are.
Yeah,
But
he brought a lot of British influence too. In fact, they say some of his students who I know, this is the thing, there's more details to tell about him and stuff, but we can't do it all. Gee whiz, this is too much. And I know a lot about this because the Buddhist people I've associated with around here are his actual students, boomer Americans, right? And they tell stories about these parties and things that have happened. And there's documentaries. There's one on YouTube. It's an hour and a half all about him. And the women he had sex with said, "I love him. I had sex with him absolutely, and I would again."
well,
It's like so.
it
So
is
this
it's
doesn't sound like too scandalous, but when we get to the sun, you will see bad. The word rape is going to come up. I think.
okay. This is interesting because I can refer to Gustave Le Bon, Psychology of the Self, and I can refer to Sigmund Freud, Psychology of the Self. How both of them they describe, for example, the position of the guru. The guru is supposed, you know, he loves. It's like a rock star. He
Mm-hmm.
loves every woman equally, and every woman are jealous because they think that they are the only person that the guru or the rock star is loving. Huh? You can see this in so the position of a guru in the West is not like the position of a guru or a master. I would prefer the term master in the East. The master will not take advantage of his authority. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
the CIA Tibetan program. I think we refer the next slide is toward the. If you go to the next slide
This one right here.
of my presentation, I think
Buddhism and
Buddhism and the CIA. So
yeah,
that's a good transition. If you
yeah.
talk about this, let's not forget that the CIA was created in 1949, I think, and the CIA it is Central Intelligence Agency. So the word intelligent is important because
Mm-hmm.
they want to play with the mind of people, the behavior of people. They want to control. That was the mission of the CIA at the beginning. So maybe did they influence the Tibetan movement?
Yeah, there's a Tibetan resistance, armed resistance against the Chinese. They had no hope, but they did it anyway. Some of them had bow and arrows, apparently, but they had other stuff
Mm.
too. So, Saint Circus is one of the operations, but the CIA in Tibet, which is a cover name for the training of Tibetan guerrillas on the island of Saipan and at Camp Hale in Colorado.
Hmm.
So, training Tibetans to fight the Chinese in Colorado. The recruits underwent rigorous military training, including weapons handling, guerrilla tactics, etc. We know this. And I guess Colorado is mountainous. So there you go. And so I don't know. Here's another one. Saint Barnum, a cover name for the airlifting of CIA agents, military supplies, and support equipment into Tibet. These supplies are often airdropped. And okay, so yeah, you know, the usual stuff. The usual stuff. We get the idea. They're involved.
So what you're saying is that uh, we could say we could see Buddhism arriving in the West as a new form of as a new ideology, a more evolved ideology. You were talking about the realm earlier. Can we say that the movement was perverted, was
This is,
diluted,
yeah,
something that was, that maybe they had good intention they have here, and suddenly, because I was telling you earlier, mutual influence. You influence somebody, but you are influenced by somebody. So do you think that the CIA was using this ideology or
yeah,
this
Buddhism.
doctrine
The
as a
subversion of Western Buddhism. This is,
yes, as a
yeah,
political
yes,
weapon?
this is my contention. And now we move our 3 episodes together from the somewhat factual, just full with philosophy, history, statues and shit. That's real. That's all there for anyone to look at. And we went through it with my own, whatever, seasoning, you could say, on top of all of this information, the way I think about it. And now we're going to get into the speculative a little by me and my research and my interest in this topic for a long time. Was the Western Buddhist movement subverted to change people's minds from revolution to passivity? This is one
Yes,
question.
yes, that's
One question you could ask here, right? And who
yes,
was he
exactly.
hanging around with? Who were his friends? Who also was famous, popular during this particular movement? Well, how about Baba Ram Das? Oops, I gotta exit this thing. Here's a photo of Ram Das. We know him. Do you know who this man is, Ram Das?
Ram Dass. No, I don't know him.
Okay, a lot of people will. He is another very famous guy who, very similar story, but with Hinduism. He was a PhD head of Harvard psychology originally.
Oh,
Yes,
that's interesting. That's
yes.
interesting.
Richard Alpert, son of a Jewish railroad tycoon, billionaire, trillionaire, God knows. In those days, millionaire probably. There's a documentary about him. Anybody can go watch it. And they show his videos of his childhood wearing suits, playing golf at his house on their own golf course. Rich. Okay, so there's threads here of suspicion. This guy gets into the acid movement with his other head of psychology, Mr. the one and only Timothy Leary. If you're hanging out with Timothy Leary, and both of these guys were running the Harvard psychology department together. Now the rabbit hole is wide open here. How are we going to do this? Who should we look at first? How are we going to do this?
But I can refer to Timothy Leary if you just zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
So we can read. There's something that I'm reading now.
Yes, there's stuff in here. Yeah.
Listen to this. I'm reading to the book of Michael Jones, The Danger of Beauties. And in this book, he's talking about the influence, the Jewish influence on the modern art, modern music, what we call contemporary music. The poet Allen Ginsberg and many people he's talking about, for example, Leonid Bernstein, they were all pushed up front. Instead of having heart like mimesis, heart like his imitating nature, those people, they promoted content. Exactly. Go back to this one. It is very funny.
Yeah. So also speaking to crowds here again.
So the idea that they were pushing the individual up front and saying this is the modern era. The modern era is something that is constructed. It is not natural. And the CIA was using those individuals to promote a new era of domination with modern, what we call modern culture. So I'm pretty sure that the Tibet or the Buddhists who arrived here, they were influenced. They were maybe recycled as secret agent. Were they? Do you think, in your opinion, were they secret agent?
Maybe this photo kind of answers that last question of yours. Do you know how Greta Thunberg is always getting arrested at climate change rallies and she's laughing? Look at this photo of him laughing. You know what? It says in the Wikipedia, he was arrested like 50 times. Like this, goofing around. He's a fucking
Okay.
goddamn CIA operative. Let's get to the point here.
So this is interesting because when we talk about Buddhism and the CIA, we see always the same behavior. I saw, you remember Stephen Gilbo?
Oh yes, yeah.
Stephen Gilbo, he was for Greenpeace. And when he was arrested because he was an extremist before he became minister under Trudeau, they all have the same laugh. When they are
Yeah.
arrested, it's like, you cannot
Gotcha.
touch me. You cannot
Yeah.
touch me. It's a show.
Yes.
I smile. You know,
Yes.
if the RCMP arrives at your house and they arrest you, and you know that they will put you in jail without a trial, I don't think you will laugh. I think about
No.
Chris Barber and Tamara Lish. They're not laughing. It's not funny. But those people, when they are arrested, it seems like they are above the law. So the guru arrived here. Maybe they were used as a weapon, political weapon.
Allen Ginsberg is in this photo. Allen Ginsberg, the poet, here with Timothy Leary. Do you know Allen Ginsberg at all? I didn't spell his name right there in the thing. That's fine. Ginsberg.
No, I know. I don't know him. I don't know his poetry, but I know the name because I encountered the name many times in the books of Michael Jones, where they are individual proclaiming a new era, which is the era of modernism. Modernism meaning the old world has to disappear, and they do everything to erase it. So this is quite interesting.
I just realized who this other man is in the fucking photo. This is live research, people. I was only going to point out Ginsberg and talk about him briefly. So we got to come back to Ginsberg. This is John C. freaking Tilley over here. Oh my goodness. Do you know who this man is? I've been doing research about these dolphin experiments with LSD. They wanted to learn how, okay, in a nutshell, NASA, the CIA, and this guy gave acid to dolphins and a woman.
Dolphins?
Yeah, to try to learn how to speak dolphin language. And dude, it's a massive rabbit hole. This whole documentary is about this situation. And this woman fell in love with the damn beast and even masturbated the darn thing and stuff. It's just insane. But the thing, it went off the rails. They had to shut down the program because this woman fell in love with the damn dolphin. So you got the CIA now coming in here. You got NASA. I mean, he's got his arm around him on the goddamn couch. He's best friends with this guy. Oh my God. And Allen Ginsberg was a teacher at Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's university that he opened called Naropa Naropa University, which is still operational. Another rabbit hole there. And Ram Dass was a teacher there. Allen Ginsberg taught the poetry. And Ram Dass, let's go back to him ever so briefly. His big thing is that he was in the acid big time. He gave everybody acid and meditation. He left. He was fired from Harvard, supposedly with Timothy Leary for giving students mushrooms, magic mushrooms. Oh, great cover story. I don't think so. Then they headed for the counterculture, dishing out acid to everybody. And he tells a story that, and I don't believe it because I don't believe a word he says, although maybe I'm wrong here. I'm speculating. He went to India with his acid to see Maharaji, his guru, sitting on a hot rock, nearly naked, somewhere on a mountain in India, right? And he shows him this acid. The guru says, what is this drugs you're always talking about? This, how acid is making you enlightened and shit. Show me the acid. He dumps out like 10 or 15 hits of acid into his hand. He shows Maharaji. Maharaji eats them all. And he's like, oh shit. And then nothing even happened to the guru. He didn't even get high. So that's a story Ram Dass tells, bullshit or not, I don't know. But I believe that there are people in the world who maybe have this power. So we're having fun here. We're speculating.
It shows us the small amount of knowledge that we have accumulated, even if we think it is big. If you go to the presentation, I have another question.
The slides?
Yes. If you go to the next one.
Next one. Meditation and ego. Okay, here we go.
So what is the difference between meditation and ego. When we think about meditation, like a guru or a master, the state of meditation, we have this feeling in the West that meditating, it's like relaxing. It's like a session of, I like the idea of yoga, but I'm not a fan of this at all. But can you describe the difference between meditation, ego? We were talking about breathing backstage. How does it work? What's the
First,
perception we have here in the West?
sure. First, we describe what the ego is, not according to Freud, but according to
Yes, that's very important. It's not
the
Freud.
Buddha. The 5 skandhas. So I'm just going to read this one short paragraph, and we'll see how we do, because all 5 of them are explained in here. This is psychology now, deep psychology. The 5 skandhas, also known as the 5 aggregates or heaps or bundles, so the 5 bundles, are a fundamental concept in Buddhism that describe the 5 psychophysical components, which constitute a sentient being's experience and the basis for the illusion of a permanent self. They are considered the constituents of the constituents of our mental and physical existence, and their aggregate continuity creates the sense of a self, which is ultimately an illusion. And here we get to samsara, reincarnation. We talked last time. What is it that reincarnates? It's the 5 skandhas. It's your bad habits. It's your bad thinking. That's what your desire to live is what reincarnates, I guess. I don't know.
So when you say the 5 skandhas, form,
this
referred to the
feeling,
physical
perception. Let's read the 5. So what form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These all work together in a little dance, you could say, that is the human mind. And form, and they go in a succession. Form actually happens first. Then feeling comes.
Okay, you say in the mind, we have a form, an intuition. If I read the definition, it's referred to the physical body and the material world, including the 5 senses. So if I think of a tree,
yes,
I see the tree, I see the object, I see the form. Then I feel something.
Yes. Is it ugly? Is it ugly? Does it need to be cut down? Is it a nice tree? Is it a bad tree?
If you go down 1, 2, I feel.
Yeah.
Then I perceive, I feel, and then I say, oh, it is a tree. And then after that, I intellectualize it. It is intellectual in fourth. So it's interesting because those perception, you go from one to another. You jump from one to another all the time.
Yes.
Your mind goes from one to another all the time. And what do we do if we meditate?
Right. So
do we slow down? Do we slow down the process? Do we go from one concept to another? Form, feeling, perception. We jump. I say I see the tree. Then I say it's a tree, but I'm not sure it is a tree. So I see again, so I can jump. What is the difference between meditation and what you're saying? This is supposed to be the definition of ego.
Yeah, I'll use an orange as an example. And I look at an orange. The color is orange. It's round and it smells. So the 5 senses are up front. And so basic understanding is round. That's the form of it. Damn thing. How do I feel about it? I actually like it. Okay. So pretty simple. This is just the thinking. Also, these skandhas arise from the subconscious, probably somewhere, I guess, and the thoughts come later about things. So, I mean, and it's not a problem. It's not a problem, first of all. But if let's remove orange or tree and put in someone shot your grandfather or something. I mean, that's a weird example, but something bad happens in your life. Something really bad or really, really bad happens. You lose your mommy, your daddy. I mean, I don't know. You get cancer. I mean, this is fucking human life. So these 5 skandhas, the thinking process, and the ego becomes a real problem sometimes.
So
Meditation, I
Can,
guess, in answer to the question, is a way to slow all that stuff down.
okay,
The good
slow.
of the orange and the bad of the warfare.
Okay,
Yeah.
slow so you can look at them, be aware. But you were telling me backstage not to stop them.
Yes, yes. This is the misconception. This is the big part of this question, I
Okay,
think. The
because
misconception of
maybe,
how Westerners think about meditation practice.
well,
They say this all the time. I can't stop my thinking process. I'm not even going to bother meditating. But it's not about stopping the
so
thinking
that's a
process.
mistake. That's a
Yes,
mistake. You
it's a
don't. People
misunderstanding.
should not say, "I want to stop my thinking."
It's
In my
impossible.
mind, at night, sometimes I say, "I have a squirrel in my head. I want to
Yeah.
stop it." It's bad. It's a bad way of, because you will stop where?
Yeah, that's why samsara is also defined as a whirlpool.
Okay, okay, that's very important, because the misconception of people, including myself, is that I want to stop the squirrel in my head. I should not. I should just embrace them.
There's a traditional analogy here that would be helpful. They say that the human mind is like a monkey inside of a house with 5 windows: sight, sound, smell, the 5 senses.
Mm-hmm.
And all 5 windows represent this, and the monkey is going crazy in there. But meditation helps the monkey just shut up and go to sleep. Does that help at all? Like slowing the thinking process down, turning the volume down, and slowing down how crazy it is that's what happens with meditation. Sometimes the dust in the eye, like we talked about last time, begins to clear. And you see through, well, this isn't such a bad problem. It's just life.
Well, it's interesting because what you're mentioning, slowing down the process, I will summarize it, intellectual process,
Yes.
and it will have an impact on the metabolism. Your
Oh, yeah.
heartbeat will slow down,
Oh,
your
yeah.
breathing will be more calm.
Yeah.
My wife, she has asthma. And when she's stressed, her asthma increase.
Yeah.
When she's not stressed, she's practically not using her pump at all. And they diagnose her asthma. The asthma is very simple. You blow into a tube, and they will evaluate the number of
Pressure.
centimeter, cubic centimeter, that is the volume and the pressure. And if you are under a certain level, well, okay, you're diagnosed as having asthma. But if you slow down your thoughts, your breathing will slow down, and you will not feel it. It's a question of feeling too. You were talking, I think, to the third perception, feeling. It's quite interesting. So the misconception of Westerners toward meditation is, oh, I have to stop. But don't
Yeah.
forget one thing: in the Western world, everybody's running,
Yes.
and everybody is craving to stop. But even when they take
Exactly.
vacation, they don't stop.
Mhm.
They never stop.
I had people here on their vacation recently. The ones who brought out the cell phone. Sorry, mom. She doesn't listen. It's fine. Your own mother takes out the cell phone. Come on. Just put it away. You're
Mm.
trying to teach me stuff. I'm going to teach you something right now. I'm not at the dinner table here. Okay. She was also running around. And I was like, Mom, I live on a lake here. I'm looking out the window right now. Fucking trees, lake, sunshine, patio, chairs. There's neighbors. I can't even see them. It's beautiful, peaceful here. And she kept saying it. Look at this wonderful garden. You know what? Sit down, turn off the cell phone, or just put it in a drawer for a day. It's all right. She's like, well, I got to go here. And then I got to go see Aunt Lucy, whoever, and then Joey and Johnny. I got
Cannot
plans
stop.
here.
She
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
not stop.
Yeah. There's people around here I know. I'm going to go visit them. I'm going to go for dinner
And
here and sit there. And I was like, you know
you
what?
know,
Just God damn it. Calm down.
you know what is interesting? They cannot stop.
Yeah. You see
And
it.
when they
Right?
go to bed, they are exhausted.
Yeah. She says
And
she can't sleep.
one thing, exactly, one thing I noticed, first of all, something that will stimulate your mind, alcohol at night, eating chocolate. We say we should not give chocolate to children before they go to bed, because it stimulates, the sugar,
Yeah.
the glucose will increase the frequency of your bloodstream. all those things. Watching a horror movie before going to
Yeah,
bed. Me,
that's a bad one.
I'm very bad at that. Me and
Yeah.
my wife, we eat chips. It's okay. It's biological chip, but it is still chips, and we are so caught in this movie that we eat all the bags. So those things, but it's referring to what you were talking about, running. They never stop. We never stop in the Western world. We don't know what is not even meditation. We don't know what is the 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 definition of just not relaxing, observing.
There's a Buddhist guy who said um, our restroom in the West is the only place we take rest, and even then we don't. The
We don't.
restroom. We call it the restroom, but it's not a restroom anymore.
It's not a restroom, but me, you know what? I would call it a public library because I
Yeah.
have full books over there. And my wife, she was always making fun when she was young. They were fighting. They only have one bathroom and they were fighting. And she was knocking at the door and says, Daddy, Daddy, I want to go to bed. And instead of saying, Wait, wait, I'm not finished, he was saying, Wait, wait, I have to finish my chapter. He's not, he's sitting on the toilet and he's reading. So, like you said, rest room should be a place where you rest. At least you rest your soul.
Yeah, there's a
to do your
cliche,
thing.
but there's a cliche. I remember in the 80s, I had some friends or whatever. My dad would go into the bathroom, like, where's my newspaper? I'm going to hang out in
They
there.
can, yes, yes. So there's a big difference between meditation and ego, like you mentioned, and
Well,
we
the ego
mix
is,
them. We mix them.
yeah, well, I don't know. I feel this is very difficult. I feel like the ego is one thing that's happening. It's creating a whole world for us that we believe is there. And then meditation slows all that down where we see maybe a slightly different world or a slightly more alive world, as we described with the animism. Life is actually really great. Through meditation, sometimes one day you're walking in the street and you notice a basket of flowers hanging on the sidewalk and you think, well, that's a fucking nice yellow flower there, isn't it? And you think, wow, I'm like so in tune what's going on around me. I'm catching this. And
Yes.
I think it's nice. You wouldn't just think that walking downtown seeing flower baskets everywhere. That's just one antidote that happened to me. I was on deep retreat in a monastery and I went to town. And when you go to town after you've been meditating every day for weeks, it's always this weird experience. Not weird, but like you feel like everybody is crazy because you're so calm, right? It's engineered. Like I'm not calm right now. I'm doing a podcast, but when you go on retreat, things happen or you run away. If you stay, you hit the wall we talked about last time, the meditation
Yes.
wall.
Yes.
And I would say, if you're not prepared to cry your fucking eyes out, you're not prepared for a 1 month retreat. You're just not. Everybody hits the wall at 2 weeks. They're like, holy fuck, life really is hard. It
This
really
is
has been hard.
maybe this is another misconception about feelings, the level of feeling. You talk about crying, for example. And now I will just make a small parenthesis. You're making world news in Nova Scotia because you cannot go and meditate in the forest because you
I
will have a
know.
$25,000 fine.
Yeah.
But
Ladies and
this is
gentlemen, Nova Scotia, the COVID scam here has really empowered them. And this is not the first time. There's yellow tape across the walking trails. No one's allowed in
I
the forest
saw
right now
this.
because it's too
I'm
fucking
like,
hot. You're not allowed to go fishing. What if you don't smoke? What if you don't bring matches or a lighter? Can I go pick wild mushrooms right now? No, not allowed.
no.
$25,000 fine right here in my fucking province today, right now, because it's too dry. So you're not allowed to live your life. What if you have a reason to go into the forest?
It is engineered. It is engineered. So they want to forbid us to, first of all, let's go hiking, walk in a forest. Exactly like what you said. You see something awkward. You see a deer or you see a rabbit, and suddenly you stop and you focus on the animal and you see the beauty of nature, and you can just go back home because you will be full of joy. And this is the purpose of meditation, in a sense, that when you're in contact with nature. Now they're forbidding people to go and walk in the forest. This is
Yeah, that's an
me.
interesting connection you're making here with this little psyop. Yeah, to disconnect us from the root.
I think it is. I I think it is premeditated. They organize this
Yeah.
so they can control the mind. One person I don't remember who said that, but it is a quote that I will find out. I will find out. He was saying the purpose of totalitarianism is to destroy the soul. If we
Yeah.
say we believe that the soul exists, for example, or the spirit, if we want to use this word, destroying the soul would be destroying the possibility to meditate, to observe life, to be in harmony with nature, with
Mm.
the fact that it is not permanent, that this impermanence is beautiful in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what you're mentioning, the ego, the way we do not understand meditation. What about yoga in the Western world? How do we perceive this? Is it part of
Yeah, I don't know.
Buddhism?
No, no, not really. It's not a
Because
big
I
part of it.
remember
No.
I met a woman many years ago and I was laughing because I went to a restaurant with her, very beautiful women, and I said, "What do you do in life?" She said, "I'm a power yoga trainer." I was telling myself, isn't it an oxymoron? Yoga is supposed to be slow,
Mhm.
supposed to be, in contact. You feel your muscle, you feel
Mm.
yourself. You try. It's not only stretching. You feel all the nature around you, and the power is supposed to be fast, like aerobic dancing. And you say, "Wait a second," and she was offended, of course.
Do you know yoga is a Sanskrit word, and you know what that word means? We talk about definitions. It means
No,
union, union,
union. So it is
union.
important.
One with your body, one with your mind, with the earth. You're laying around on the earth, breathing the air. So everything's kind of in focus. And I do love yoga. We should do more yoga. That's our thing. We say all the time, but don't do because we're getting
Well,
older.
yes,
We're getting
exactly.
older, right? And man, when you do a little stretch sometimes. In fact, I will say this: the only yoga that I do is when I put on my shoes. I'm 47 now. My health is not good. I was a chef for a long time. My body is kind of destroyed. And now I'm a farmer, for God's sake. But I'm pushing through. And that when I so I'm getting old enough now that when you put on your shoes, you have to lean against a wall, working towards sitting on a chair to do it. When you're young, you just stand on one foot and you throw the damn thing on. So now I'm always thinking, okay, I'm going to do 1 second of yoga. I'm going to stand here, stay perfectly balanced, focus my mind, and I'm not going to need to lean against the wall. But sometimes I'm lazy. My mind is busy. I'm just going to sit on a fucking chair and do it and run out and do something. So this is maybe a fun analogy here on the fly.
Well, it's interesting what you're mentioning because I did water ski. I did the competition
Mm,
water ski, and I
mm.
did barefoot ski.
Oh, wow.
Barefoot ski, and because I did this today, I have artificial hips, but I walk. I could run, but my surgeon said it is. You should. I use a treadmill. But anyway, why I say this? You're talking about tying your shoes. When I tie my shoes or when I put my sandal or whatever, I stand on one foot and I bend down slowly
Mm-hmm.
and I get up slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I want to feel that this balance. I want to see if I will fall.
Yeah.
And because my hips is in titan, the right leg, it's a little bit more heavy, uh, some grams, not, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel it. And I tell myself, okay, I have to change my center of gravity if I want to do the same exercise. And I don't have to do it often. But if I do it 1 or 2 times per day, I start to feel, oh, I'm starting to lose balance. Do it more often. So you're in contact with your body, and you say, oh, okay, I'm 65. So when I get up in the morning, it's a little bit more hard. You want to stay in bed. My father was when he was 50. He died 30 years ago. But my father, when he was 50, I asked him. He said, it's like I'm 20. As soon as I get off of the bed, everything is like I'm 20. But getting off is more
Yeah.
hard. Referring to what you're talking about, those small exercise, uh, that could be meditation too. If you really think that what you're doing at the moment you're doing it, you're
What
a chef. I suppose you were a chef. you must have cut your finger a couple of times.
Oh yes, with machinery. I've cut myself with machinery.
So imagine, and me, it happened. I'm not a chef. I cook with my wife, and now every time I cut vegetable, I have
Yeah,
good knife.
yeah,
I look at the vegetable and I look at and I tell myself I don't want to see a finger with the tomato.
yes.
And I try to focus, and the more I
Mm-hmm.
do it, the more I'm precise. It takes more time because you don't want to run. So instead of running all the time and stopping, I try to slow the pace of everything, even the podcast now. We have technical problem. Immediately, I told myself I knew something would happen. Then I said, okay, do we have a plan B? So you were already broadcasting, so we were able to flip
Yeah,
on a plan B and
yeah.
not being stressed. Oh, okay, it was not professional. Plan B and slowing down the process. So the ego and the meditation are important. You have another thing that you were talking about.
There's a million things I want to say about this, but we got to keep moving. And this is part 3. We're skimming over real interesting stuff right here, right
But
now.
there's one thing I want you to talk about, the noble
Okay.
one.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
You refer to the noble one.
Let me share the screen here, just to show the. I'm interested in why. I guess I just used. You see that, right?
Yes.
This is kind of the next thing you want to bring up, just in our correspondence back and forth. I guess just in passing, I referred to the Buddha as the noble one, and you must have thought, well, that's interesting. What do you mean? Why this term?
Yes, that's
right?
exactly what I want you to talk about.
And I guess that's just from reading this Pali Canon stuff, because it's 3 huge books. The Buddhist Encyclopedia of Teachings, 3 huge books.
Okay.
And one of those books, as we discussed last time, is the Discourses of the Buddha. He's talking, kind of like what we saw on the stage here with Trungpa and the others, right? Speaking to the congregation.
They're saying something. They're saying something.
And they have question and answer period at the end of all of these things, where the students say, "Oh, I have a question," and then they would address him formally, and they would say, "Noble one," whatever. So I asked my wife. I was like, "Andre's wondering about this. Why are they calling the Buddha the noble one?" And she's like, "Well, he's from a noble family, and those days in the Brahmic world we looked at last time." There were people of spiritual stature, I guess, in a variety of contexts, and they were seen as noble too, in some sense. So I think it's just a definition of a term, nothing fancy. But another honorific they would give the Buddha in these books is world honored one. Oh, world honored one. I have a question about meditation, that kind of stuff. World honored one. So I don't know. I don't know much about it, Andre. I don't know what else to say.
Do you
I think
we have this conception of nobility? People, they come from a noble family. And Nietzsche was referring to the nobleness of the heart. Would it be more close to Buddhism to say that people who are noble, I would not say pure, but they are real master, wise,
worthy
patient.
Teacher? Someone who you think seems to be someone worthy of listening to, at least. I mean, we all need to listen to somebody in life.
That's why I'd refer to the speech, what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Were they talking about faith? Were they talking about logic? Were they talking about, you were talking about concepts, samsara, nirvana. Were they explaining those concepts?
Yeah. All that stuff. Oh, monks, I have to tell you about Nirvana today. Not the band, who I love. I love that.
No, exactly.
So, I mean, anybody could read it. It's very straightforward. We're talking about Buddhist philosophy all through this episode and the last one, and probably the next one too, although part 3, I think, is going to be in the realm of science fiction fantasy.
Well,
and I don't want to blow the cover. I don't want to blow the cover on that yet, because I'm still formulating that in my mind, how transhumanism is going to come in here.
Transhumanism, but it will. You see, there's another question I wanted to ask you: faith and logic.
Yeah, faith and logic. Yeah.
Faith and logic.
The reason I brought this up, I was preparing a podcast about Christian eschatology with a guest. a Christian. So
Mhm.
we were going to talk about the revelations and of the world and stuff, just for fun and for your interest type of show like this one, a little history and a little
Mhm.
opinion. So I was listening to Christian speakers, famous ones. R.C. Sproul, he's very famous. He's a great speaker, and he's Christian. And he said that right away, and at the beginning of his talk, Christianity is a religion of faith. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I was thinking that,
That's a statement. That's a
yeah,
statement.
it's a very big statement that
Yes.
needs further unpacking.
Mhm.
Right, sure. And whereas a little bit of the Buddhism, that they refer to the Buddha as the scientist of the self. A little bit psychology here, a little bit physical exercises, meditation, and yoga, and all this, starving yourself, whatever.
Mhm.
Trying to work with the materials around us, with our own thinking process, to try to kind of unlock some of these mysteries and to feel better. Whereas I guess Christianity, in my opinion, and I haven't studied it greatly. I mean, of course I know a little about it. I live in fucking Canada. This is a Christian country here. There's a church on every corner. And I'm no expert, and I will just say Christianity, they say it's more about faith. Buddhism is more about logic. Maybe here somewhere there's a problem in how the Western world has not accepted Buddhism well. And we didn't even get to the nasty scandals, but I think people can
Mhm.
picture it. The inner circles, sex parties, drunken, the word rape is there, and it's all fact. The facts are in a memorandum on the internet in three
Mhm.
parts about the Shambhala. I'm just going to say it, and then we can get off of it. Shambhala Buddhism International. I showed the map of all of their centers. The guru of that fucking system, the son of Chogyam Trungpa, was ousted in 2018. Whistleblower reports are in the public domain right now. Sexual abuse, alcoholism, and drunk fall down parties, violence, cult activities in a big way.
So,
Yep.
so we go back, like we were saying, faith and logic. There's another question, we're talking about the differences, translation, languages. Those people, they had to learn English when they arrived here.
Yeah.
Or were they already educated in English?
There's a lot of teachers over here right now, and even in the past, Suzuki Roshi, the Japanese Zen master who came here in the 50s, who I love, he had horrible English. There's old scratchy audio recordings of him teaching people in California Zen in the 1960s, early 70s.
Mhm.
I can't even understand a word he says. And a lot of the Tibetans over here also have centers. They can't speak well English. So it depends how well they study it, I guess. Trungpa was a
Were
master of it.
they were they translating, and I think you referred to Sanskrit, or they had were they publishing books? Were they edited, or were they promoted for ordinary people who wants to receive the teaching of Buddhism? It must have been difficult.
Yeah, well, that's why I chose him Trungpa for all of his faults.
Mm.
Although if drinking and smoking and having sex with his students is a fault, who we're all in on it together, I don't know if that's a fault or not. It's up to the listener and
Well,
to whoever else to.
it's a moral position. It's a moral
Yeah,
position, and
but his son outright was abusing women. Fact. It's
mm.
all in the public domain. So things fell there.
So
So
the
where are we
things.
here? What's the question here? Where are we?
Well, it was about the language, the transcription
Right,
of
right,
text, or
right.
because you were referring last week to school of thoughts. So somebody arrives here. I arrive with a new doctrine. I want to teach it.
Yeah.
I have to write a speech. I have to explain concepts. Okay,
Right,
forget
right,
that.
right.
And then after
Yeah.
that, like you said, question and answer. Somebody, oh, I have a question.
That's
You
what
know,
Trungpa did. That's why Shambhala is so big. Trungpa was a master. He
okay,
learned English in Oxford, in perfect English.
yes, that's
And
why.
he wrote many books, and he figured out a way like no one else
Mm,
could to actually bridge that gap. Whether he worked for the CIA, whether he was subverting Western culture, we don't know. And I like to think of a
that's
world
another
where
question.
sometimes people make mistakes, and I'm not defending him. I'm just thinking, what
Mhm.
if he's in a shithole refugee camp, trying to get his shit together? Men in black suits show up. You know what? Let's get you educated. Let's get you to the West. the Western world could use something besides Christianity. Let's help you out. I don't know. How did all this even begin? Somebody could go do the research. Learns perfect English, comes over there, and he wrote many books, which are his actual talks that the students put into books, and he may have edited there some stuff. And at the end, it's question and answer of every chapter, question and answer with Western students, and it's actually pretty interesting to hear the types of questions Westerners are asking. They want to get blissed out, bliss. They want to see colors and lights and freak out. And Trungpa always says, you know what, you gotta just. He called that spiritual materialism, which is a fascinating. Yes. So one of his gifts, he invents terms that bridge like spiritual materialism.
This reminds me of. This reminds me of Stalin, because spiritual materialism. It's like what was the expression of Stalin? Socialist materialism.
Yeah.
In a sense, they're quite opposed. Maybe a last question. I was thinking about. We were talking about meditation. What about dreams, imagination, and fiction? What was the perception of the Westerners toward?
That's a big question.
Toward Buddhism, were they consider this a dream? You were talking about the ego is an illusion. How do we differentiate dreams, imagination, and fiction? Me, I study literature. I can recognize if it is a part of fiction, a part of reality with fact. But what about do Buddhism brings ideas about dreams? Like like Jung or Freud would talk about dreams.
Dreams. Well, I feel like a good place to start there is that there's a Tibetan master, whatever, who was interviewed about the destruction of Tibet. He escaped. One of these lamas, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche is his name. Anyway, it's irrelevant. But he said in that interview, he said, a country is a passing dream. It's useless to cling to it. So that's a very Buddhist, high-minded attitude there, isn't it? Someone destroys your fucking country, it doesn't matter. It's samsara. Toughen up. Things are not going to be great for you all the time.
Nietzsche always say, what does not kill you will make you more strong. Toughen up, yes. If you are in a hard time, maybe we can end up with Schopenhauer, because Schopenhauer,
I feel like we're going to jump over to Schopenhauer. He studied Buddhism, and his only famous book, he wrote a lot of stuff, but his only famous book is this one.
The world and representation.
Yes. So I will click it. The world as will and representation. Now, what does that sound like already? A simulation, a dream. The world is not real.
Exactly.
The world is not real.
That's why I was referring to Jung and Freud, but yes, Schopenhauer, of course.
Let's read this and see how we do. So this is Schopenhauer now. Some of his ideas. Taking the transcendental idealism of Immanuel Kant as his starting point, Schopenhauer argues that the world humans experience around them, the world of objects in space and time, and related in causal ways, exists solely as, quote, representation or Vorstellung, dependent on cognizing subject, that's us, right? The ego, the mind, not as a world that can be considered to exist in itself. So this is deep shit. I mean, we're dealing with Schopenhauer, for God's sake. Independent.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in here, man. One's knowledge of objects is thus knowledge of mere phenomena. Objects are phenomena, he says, not real things in themselves. And we know this from the university class. Day one, university. The professor, is this table real? Is this table real, guys? Well, Schopenhauer says no. The Buddha says no.
That's Edmond Husserl with the phenomenology, which is a way to perceive reality. We can describe, or we can.
Oh my goodness!
You see the aesthetic.
Research on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. Research on the fly.
Exactly.
The freaking ascetic Buddhist statue that we looked at last time is right here
The
in
idea-
Schopenhauer's fucking Wikipedia. Look at this. It's
The
unbelievable.
idea of phenomenology, that reducing world as a representation, is a Western concept, because what we see is what we get.
Mm-hmm.
So
The-
it evades or it occults the spiritual aspect. You were talking about earlier backstage. We were talking about keeping a certain level of mystery in the equation.
Yes. Yes.
And I think the modern thinkers like Schopenhauer, maybe Nietzsche also, and you were showing Baudrillard. A lot of thinkers were trying to evade or to exclude the idea of spirituality, mystery. What is mysterious, supernatural, overnatural, outside of nature? We are here now, and I think it will introduce what we will talk next week.
Yeah,
The
this is
future of mankind.
John Baudrillard is where we
transhumanism.
depart. We depart reality here now with Mr. Jean Baudrillard, French philosopher. Wow.
So we will talk about what is nature and what is outside nature. Transhumanism, robots, artificial intelligence, maybe.
Let's have some fun for a minute together. Jean Baudrillard, we know this. His writing was inspiration for the Matrix movies. Let's point out quickly that the two directors, the Wachowski brothers, are both now transgender women. Okay? Let's talk about Hollywood. Let's talk about black magic and the transhumanist agenda and the hijacking of Buddhist ideas, even to the deepest, most darkest place imaginable. This movie was released in 108 territories simultaneously on November 5th, 2003, the final installation, part 3 of Matrix Revolutions. There is also 108 beads on the Buddhist Tibetan prayer mandala, the prayer beads. I don't know if the Christian rosary has 108 also, but this is a mysterious number, 108, in history that no one has ever fully explained.
Well, one thing I could say, that's an hypothesis. You can say 108 doesn't have a spiritual aspect or a mythical aspect.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure. I would say you can fabricate anything you want today.
Yeah.
I can fabricate, I can create reality and make people believe that it exists. You see, with AI, it's something we're seeing, and we will talk about transhumanism next week, the future of mankind. But don't forget one thing. Earlier this month, Elon Musk gave an interview about downloading your consciousness and your memories on a hard disk, let's say a hard disk, or in the cloud, whatever you want. Do you want to download your suffering on a hard disk?
Yeah, the Buddha would say, what mind exactly are you going to fucking upload to this machine, sir? There is no mind there for you to upload to a machine, which is also not real. Yeah,
that's what I refer to. If we think about the samsara, the suffering, as a way to elevate our conscious, I will put the word between quotation marks. You would arrive and you would say, I want to download myself on a hard disk because I want to be able to access when I will be dead, or my avatar will access to it, and the guardian of the cloud will say, and the cloud we can refer to the Greek god, will say, no, it is not permitted to bring your bad behavior. You cannot bring your bad behavior with you.
Yeah.
And in reincarnation, what do you do when you reincarnate? You reincarnate, and you reincarnate with your bad behavior, because you have to be able to overcome them. So imagine that you die, they download your memory, your history, they download everything on in the cloud, And when you wake up, is it you who's waking up?
Well, there was
So
no
that
you to begin with. There was no
there's no
you to begin with.
exactly. So the idea that Elon Musk was saying we will download
Look at him.
yourself,
He's a moron, first
this
of
is
all.
a total
An
contradiction.
idiot. The guy's a fucking idiot.
Maybe next
He's
week
a
we will be able
charlatan.
to talk. We will be
Yeah.
able to talk about the difference between transhumanism and what Buddhism could bring us.
Mm-hmm.
The teaching of Buddha, what the teaching of Buddha could bring us to have a debate with those transhumanists, because those people they are profoundly, like you were mentioning the sixth realm.
Yeah.
They're very low. They're very low.
Yeah, they're very animal realm almost. It's hard to say that, but they want to become gods.
They want, but
That's what they want.
they're taking the bad method. They're
Yes,
very
they
bad
are.
method.
Devils, more so.
Exactly. So
We'll want to wrap up on Nebuchadnezzar too, and you're probably wondering, why are we going here?
well, go
Nebuchadnezzar
ahead.
II. During my research into Jean Baudrillard, the philosophy there, and the basing that on the Matrix, the ship, the whole movie takes place within the Matrix world, the real Matrix world, within their ship called Nebuchadnezzar, based on the Nebuchadnezzar II. So I said, well, who is this Nebuchadnezzar? Cool name. And Nebuchadnezzar II, meaning Nabu, or who was the Babylonian patron god of literacy, scribes, wisdom, and the rational arts. He is associated with the classical planet Mercury and Babylonian astronomy. And I'm wondering, Black Magic, the Matrix movies, the two transgender women, people who made this, men who made this movie, all of the strange symbolism, Jean Baudrillard, the transhumanist agenda, it's a cult. And they're not just talking about technology. There's people in this world who are running it, who are involved in the very dark arts. There are very powerful, rich people like Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and others who run, these guys running Palantir and all these open AI and all these other companies. There's a lot of them, the technocrats. They're in it for the money and the power only. But I believe that they are working alongside a real dangerous group of people, the transhumanist death cult. And these people are doing things in the background, the blackmail, the cult building. If you get blackmailed, you're going to do what they tell you to do, and you're going to join the government, and you're going to do what they say.
You're going to do what they say. Exactly. That's why.
So this is kind of a liftoff. And also, here's the last thing about this. This is the real kicker.
Garden of Babylon.
Yes. So Nebuchadnezzar is responsible for building the Garden of Babylon. And now we shift to the transhumanist agenda in full. Saudi Arabia, also in the land of Babylon.
Yeah, but this now it is stalled. They're having a hard time convincing people to go and to live in this dystopian world.
This is a 1-minute video from Neom, the Line, their actual website. This is actually what they think. Michio Kaku, the famous astrophysicist, always on CNN, is on this website. We may end up here next time. I don't know. I haven't even thought too deeply about where part 3 is going to go, but it's going to be dark. What is the future of humanity?
Well, does humanity have a future?
With a Buddhist twist, right? What is the future with a Buddhist twist? Well, we have to address where we are in reality in the present moment before we can address what's coming or where we're going.
Well, if I see,
look,
yes,
do you see the Hanging Gardens?
105. That's a ghetto. That's a concentration camp.
Do you see the Hanging Gardens of Babylon right here in the middle of the desert? Again,
yes.
Rebuilt. You see what they think?
Rebuild.
They believe they're going to build this fucking place. Not going to happen. This will be a gulag. Stalin wanted to build all kinds of mega projects where people just died in the hundreds and the thousands building.
We can maybe we will talk about architecture, because look at the architecture, and what is fascinating, it shows the level of lack of imagination.
Yes.
Because you look at the structure of architecture, it's always the same thing. Nothing is different from one another. There's no self. There's no imagination. There's no This is incredible. This is incredible. And maybe next week when we will talk about transhumanism and the future of mankind.
Yeah.
I would say, you know what? I would say the future in plural. There are many futures.
Yeah.
We can choose one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Well,
good. That's good. So
I've left us with a real mouthful for next time.
it will be great. So thank you again, David.
Yeah.
It was very funny. And I do apologize for the technical delay. It was a problem. It is a problem with StreamYard. I think we will try to fix it for next week. So thank you again for the philosophy of information and David Garner. David, I will stay with you. Now you're the master with
All right, I have
StreamYard.
to click end. Yeah.
And
I will.
and
I will. Yeah. Go ahead. Please continue.
we will see you next week. We will rebroadcast something. We will try to fix the technical problem. And the next episode will be part 3, the future of mankind and transhumanism with the history of Buddhism. So thanks a lot, David.
You're welcome. And we got our work cut out for us for this one. I haven't. Yeah, no, it's gonna be very interesting. We're gonna have fun. This will be science fiction time. You know, we're gonna have some fun this time. We'll have a great day, Andre.
It was science fiction this week because we were cut off by
right,
technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll edit the video. Yeah. All right. Until next time. Adios.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.